Back in May 2020 when I was living there, okay, of course, back in May 2020 when I was back in May 2020 when back in May 2020 when I was living there and my psychic abilities got turned on. Back in May 2020 when I was living there and my psychic abilities got turned on, my clairvoyant abilities, and I had gone to Dwayne's room. He opened the door, or I opened the door, whatever. It was already cracked, but then it swung open, whatever happened. But I saw him and he was sitting in his computer chair, in 3D on the physical, and his whole face was like a clown, but not necessarily like a scary clown. Just he had on the full white makeup, the red markings, all that. It just, to me, it was just showing his insecurities and stuff like that. But yeah, it tripped me out. I saw him straight up as a clown. And then, like I said, when I was in Indonesia, when I was on Bali, I had a dream, and it was outside. I hope I'm not talking too fast and you can understand my English. I'll try to talk a little slower. So I was in Indonesia and I had a dream, and it was kind of I was up on a cliff, and it was all flat, circular, up high on a cliff. It was dark, and Dwayne was there, and he was an evil clown or whatever. I mean, I don't really like to use the word evil, but he was frightening, and kind of like a lunatic. Actually, he was like lunacy, insane. And Jeremy was there. Ryan, from Iran was there. Ava was there. Val was there. Miriam from Iran was there. There were people that had been in the group that were there in my dream. And I was standing there, and I was looking at Dwayne and everybody, and basically I was like, the jig is up. The charade is up. The truth is known. Everybody knows the truth now. And, and then Ava, she kind of got on her knees, and Ava put her face in her palms, in the palms of her hands, and put her face down, and was shaking her head and just so disappointed at what she had allowed to go on, and at what Dwayne really is, the joke that he really is, and yeah, that was basically the dream. But Dwayne was still just the master of lunacy in the dream. He had no interest in being grounded or anything like that. But quite frankly, he is really dangerous. When I went back living down there, I don't know, maybe the first week of me living there, I was sitting down in the 3D on the physical, and I was sitting on some part of the property, and Dwayne was wandering around, and then he saw me sitting on the ground, and he walked up to me, and he said, "Oh, Kelsey, we'll just put your dead body in a plastic bag and throw it on the street." Out of nowhere. That's what he said to me. I was sitting on the ground, in yogi style, with my legs crossed, not bothering anybody doing anything. He just wanders around, walks up to me, and that's back in May 2020 when I was living there and my psychic abilities got turned on, my clairvoyant abilities, and I had going to Dwayne's room. He opened the door, or I opened the door, whatever. It was already cracked, but then it swung open, whatever happened. But I saw him, and he was sitting in his computer chair, like in 3D on the physical, and his whole face was like a clown, but not necessarily like a scary clown. Just like he had on the full white makeup, like the red markings, all that. Like it just, to me, it was just like showing his insecurities and stuff like that. But yeah, it tripped me out. I saw him straight up as a clown. And then, like I said, when I was in Indonesia, when I was on Bali, I had a dream, and it was like outside. Okay, of course, it cut me off. But anyway, yeah, I was sitting down on the property. He's wandering around. He walks up to me, and that was the first thing out of his mouth. And what he said to me as I was sitting there: "Oh, Kelsey, we'll put your dead body in a plastic bag and throw it on the street." It was, quite delusional, weird, and shocking. But I had seen, visions too of him and Val and them trying to get other people in the area when in 2020. Now I'm talking about back in 2020, of them planning to throw me into a hole. So yeah, I'm trying to think what else, and then when I left this year in 2024, I had these dreams where he was like trying to get me, him and Val, they were trying to get me to give them oral sex, and they had stolen my keys and like wouldn't let me leave and let me out. I finally got out of there, but without having to do anything sexual with them. But that was what they were trying to do. And then there were all these little girls who were doing like yoga, and they were like naked, and it was just nasty because of how Dwayne and Val, like their intent towards these kids. And in the dream, like Jeremy and Kevin were trying to stop me from leaving too. But anyway, and the little girl said to me, "Oh, it didn't used to be like this, Kelsey." Like what was happening to those little girls. So yeah.
On me, but lately I needed it all just to grow. I had to step out of my comfort zone, give it some time and leave it alone. Now that I'm back and I'm ready for more, I'll give them a reason to call me to go. Yeah, look at my bank comments, look at my wrist, AP. Who is the GOAT? I am.
Pilih yang kamu suka untuk didengarkan secara offline. Kamu bisa download lagu sepuasnya dan mendengarkan musik offline dengan Spotify Premium. Dapatkan 4 bulan premium hanya Rp54.990 sekarang dan batalkan kapan saja. Ketuk banner untuk selengkapnya.
I got love for every nation. I got love for all races. I got love for all religions. Got love for so many places. No love for a politician, a congressman, or a senator if the country that they putting first ain't the United States of America. No love for these politicians with corporate interests in